So we did a video a couple of weeks ago showing how the Reform UK Party under Nigel Farage is now in second place on the popular vote amongst Welsh people in Wales and how it could win many seats on the Welsh Assembly. Well, only 2 weeks later, with the plummeting polling of Starmer and his popularity, the Reform UK Party are now placing number one in Wales with 28% if there was an election held today. Now, why is this so important? Because we know with the UK general election, the first past the post, the popular vote doesn't mean everything. However, in the Welsh Assembly, it goes off proportional representation, meaning that if Nigel Farage's Reform UK managed to get 28%, it would get nearly a third of all Welsh elected officials. It would have the single most representatives in Wales. This is unbelievable news. And I did not think when I started this channel 4 months ago as a Reform voter, I'm proud to be a Reform voter, no embarrassment or shame whatsoever. I did not think that, and I said this in videos, that the rise of Reform and the downfall of Starmer was going to happen so quickly. I'm now starting to think that within 12 months from now, the Reform Party will be polling far higher than the Labour Party and Conservatives. Now, if that happens, and we have a general election, and the Reform Party win, let's say 50, 60 seats, but get more on the popular vote, our voting system will have to change forever. What do you think? Do you think the Reform Party can do it? What if I told you that the Reform Party may actually have already done it? And that is because polls lie. You can ask the questions to get the answers that you want. So it's claiming at the moment that the Reform Party is on around 21% nationally. And it's claiming that the Conservatives are on around 29% and the Labour Party around about 28%. So let's say between the top place and the Conservatives and the Reform place, there's around 8 points. That only means that the pollsters only have to get it 4% difference, where the Reform Party and the Conservatives and Labour would all be around about the same on 24-25%. Now, do you think any polling company, and when we're talking about polling companies, we're talking about mainstream polling companies when we get told about it by the mainstream media. Places like the Telegraph, the Times, the Express, the BBC, Sky News, Channel 4, I could go on and on. They've all got an agenda, haven't they? I think most people who watch this channel and me talking in my dining room are obviously watching to watch something different. And let's be honest, the people who are talking on them channels have absolutely no experience when it comes to real life, and they certainly don't have much experience when it comes to politics. What they do, they have a big screen behind them, they're very good speakers, they're very good actors, and they say what they're told to say. Do you think that they would tell the public that the Reform UK Party was winning in the national poll across the country? Absolutely not. They would say it in Wales, which has a couple of million people. Let's say it was Scotland with 5 million people, possibly. But they're not going to say it in England, when it includes England in the UK polling, when you're talking of over 60 million people. People would start to believe that the Reform Party can actually win. And like I said before, if the Reform Party win the popular vote, then the whole electoral system has to change. I think that the Reform Party, Labour and Conservatives are all around neck and neck. But I do believe that more people like the Reform Party than the Conservatives or Labour, and I'll tell you why. So historically, you've had the two parties, Labour and Conservative, and a lot of people vote Labour because they're scared of the Tories getting in. They don't necessarily like Labour. A lot of people vote Conservatives because they're scared of Labour, Labour because they're scared of Conservatives. Back and same either way. But when it comes to the Reform UK Party, the people who vote Reform as a whole love Reform. Their policies are popular with the Labour Party voters and the Conservative Party voters. So let's not pretend that Labour voters are all woke and far left. Not at all. The majority of Labour voters have the same concerns on things like immigration, things like the NHS, our schools, our finances, just like everybody else. So the Reform Party's policies are by far the most popular. The Reform Party's base loves its party and its leader far more than the other parties. So I would actually say that the Reform Party actually has more support than the other parties. But we now need to turn that into votes. The mainstream media is going to start attacking Nigel Farage like we have never seen before. Nigel Farage is going to become a figure like Donald Trump was in America. But guess what? 10 years ago, under UKIP, it worked to an extent. It won't work this day and age. Social media, YouTube channels, far bigger than this, with 1 million, 2 million subscribers, now have the freedom to support Nigel Farage. That was never the case. In the UKIP days, Farage had a stigma around his party of being racist, and they didn't have channels to get the message out of what they was really standing for. And also, Nigel Farage has learned a lot about the people around him now in Reform than he did back in the UKIP days. But let me know what you think. Reform UK, now the most popular party in Wales. Are they the most popular party in the UK? They're even gaining support in Scotland. We've had I think it was a Conservative councillor jump to Reform in Scotland. He obviously thinks he can win that seat as a Reform UK candidate. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I'd be very surprised if UKIP even won a council seat ever in Scotland. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.